كل فعل يراد به التقرب إلى الله عز وجل وهو خلاف السنة فهو بدعة ضلالة.
The female members of my family, they wear headscarves, meaning the khimar, and they wear long shirts and long tops. However, it is not the correct hijab, meaning Shari hijab, or the Sharia legislated hijab. Could you please advise them to wear jilbab? Naam. Of course, the garment of the Muslim woman, the jilbab, al-mar'atul muslima, the jilbab of the Muslim woman, it is something that is obligatory upon her. And it is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded in the Quran, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has commanded in the Sunnah. And it is the way of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum and the four Imams and other than them. And that is that a woman, when she's in her home, she wears her household clothing. When she is ready to leave the home, then she ties a scarf over her head, which is known as the khimar. Sometimes we translate it as headscarf, which is fine, but it is not just over the head. It is the khimar, and the khimar, it covers the head, meaning the whole of the hair, and covers the ears. It comes down and it covers the neck, and it covers the shoulders, the top of the back, and the bosoms are covered by that khimar. Then she adorns herself on top of that, which is, in today's terms, we call it the abaya, which is the larger garment that goes on top of that. Right? So this is the jilbab. So this is the garment that goes on top of the khimar, meaning on the head, and then it falls over the rest of the body, concealing the garments that you are wearing in the home. It is a garment, meaning the jilbab, it is a garment that is wide. It is a garment that is not see-through. It is a garment that covers from the head all the way down to below the feet, or at feet level at the very least in this country. And so that your legs are concealed, your arms are concealed. Of course, there are, arms, in that garment, so your hands can go through. And that is the sunnah of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that is the jilbab of the believing women in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the books of fiqh and hadith, they state that. And Shaykh al-Albani makes a note that it doesn't necessarily have to be a one-piece garment. It can be more than one piece. So for example, it falls over your head and it reaches your thighs. And underneath you have another, you can call it a skirt or a izar, that it goes underneath that, and that starts from the waist and it falls to your feet. We call it the two-piece jilbab, right? So that is something that is obligatory, meaning either that or that. But as for just wearing a headscarf or some sort of headscarf, sometimes it is resemblant of a bandana almost, or something that just wraps the head, or what many of the women from the subcontinent wear, which is referred to as the dupatta, which is like a shawl that they wear over their head, and you can see their hair and so on, and they just wrap it around their shoulders, and they still wear the garments that they normally wear in their home, and that is revealed. Then that is not correct. That is not the jilbab. Is it better than other forms of dress? Then yes, it is better. It is better than wearing a miniskirt, for example. Yes. So we don't say that there is no good in it whatsoever, but you have not reached the conditions of the hijab up until you fulfill those matters that I've mentioned. So to fulfill the conditions of the hijab, you need to do what I said at the beginning. So is there a woman who allows her hair to flow out, so she doesn't cover her head at all, and the woman who covers her head? Which of the two is better? The one who covers is better than the one who does not cover. Right? Then let's look at the woman who covers her head with a small headscarf, but she wears normal clothes, like she just wears a shirt, for example, a blouse, and she wears a headscarf. Compare her to the woman who wears the khimar and the jilbab from her head to her feet. Which one of them two is better? Of course, the one who wears the jilbab correctly is better than the one who is just wearing the headscarf. So yes, there are grades and levels, right? But that which is the sunnah is the one, the sister who wears the khimar on top of which is worn the jilbab, and that she conceals the whole of her body, as the Prophet ﷺ said to Asma bint Abi Bakr, that I should not see any part of you except for these two, meaning the two hands, and this, and he pointed to the oval of his face. So the woman is allowed to reveal her hands and her face, as long as she has not beautified her face with makeup and lipstick and so on, because that is not allowed. Because the makeup that a woman wears, especially lipstick, then that is referred to as sexual signaling. It is a signal that you are sending of your sexuality, right? So it is not considered to be anything other than sending a message that you are here to be, as an object of attraction. And the purpose of the hijab and the purpose of modesty of a Muslim woman is to conceal her beauty and not to be an object of sexuality, right? Save your concept of sexuality and your attraction for your husband. And if you say, well, I'm not married, then what are you saying? That up until you marry, you're going to show it to what, 20,000 boys and men? You're open for that? No, you should have modesty and maintain your honor. Because without honor, you are nothing, male or female. Barakallahu feekum.